Since the beginning of civilization, man has been drawn to the exploration of the open seas. Today, the International Sailing Federation's World Cup circuit provides sailors the opportunity to race against world-class competition in beautiful locations around the world. But the competitors are certainly not on a pleasure cruise.
It's either for you or it's not. You know, some people would say, oh, I can't stand the motion or anything like that. To me, it's nothing better than going along, hearing the rush of the water and the wind and everything like that. Stuff happens quickly and dynamically on a sailboat. I just absolutely took to it. It's just so challenging and fun, and every day's different.
It's tough mentally sometimes, and you have to really focus on safety always. Figure out how to work best as a team, which is the most important thing when you're ocean racing, knowing everyone's got your back.
It's a team sport, and there are 8 to 10 jobs on the boat that have to be done for every maneuver. And when you get in the middle of the night, it's 4 o'clock in the morning, you're cold, it's wet, it's raining, you're trying to get the crew up and get the boat moving, you're doing sail changes as the conditions change.
There were a few situations where everyone's yelling and screaming and we had no idea what we were talking about. We got over that a little bit, and sailing's one of those sports where whatever happens on the water, it stays on the water. And when you come off at the end of the day, everyone's still friends and you share stories about what happened out there, and that's what makes this sport great.
Sports World. International Sailing Federation Korea Cup is presented by Gyeongsangbuk-do and brought to you by Korea Sailing Federation. Produced and distributed exclusively by Jalbert Productions International, in association with ISEA Sports. South Korea is a democratic nation that's located on a peninsula in Asia. It's neighbored by China to the west, Japan to the east, and North Korea to the north. 25 million people live in the capital city of Seoul and its surrounding suburbs, making it the second most populated metropolitan area in the world, and a mecca for sports in recent years. The Summer Olympics took place in Seoul in 1988. As a result, the popularity of all sports catapulted across the country, including the sport of sailing. The Korea Cup International Yacht Race has been a regular event on the International Sailing Federation's race circuit since 2008. It's the largest and most prestigious yachting event in Far East Asia. From Seoul, heading southeast, it's a 5-hour drive to the small city of Uljin, Gyeongsangbuk-do, which is situated along the eastern coastline and which has been the base location for the start and finish of the Korea Cup since its inception. The beautiful sandy beaches and outstanding seafood restaurants draw visitors to this harbor destination. Historically, Uljin has been a farming and fishing region, and 60,000 people call it home. Korean history began more than 4,000 years ago, and the participants in this year's sailing competition are welcomed with a touch of tradition.
We arrived in Hupo, which is a port city in Uljin County. A small little fishing village, real nice, and it was interesting to see the local culture as compared to the bigger city where we came from.
We're here at the Hupo Fish Market. This is the Catch of the Day auction. This fish that they're bidding on, it's called a sea bear. And you can see the size of that fish, it's big. Everybody shows this auctioneer what this little portfolio is. It's very close to his chest and all that stuff. It's unlike auctions that I've seen in North America where this would just be a feeding frenzy of people screaming and yelling, right? So I don't know if this keeps the price low or high, but this is how they do business here.
International Sailing Federation President Carlo Croce states, ISAF is proud to support this important event, which is a fantastic opportunity for Korea to promote sailing in a region which is rapidly emerging as one of the leading maritime and tourism nations in Asia.
For the first year race, we had participants from 8 different countries with 11 boats. And this year, we have 10 different countries participated with 220 sailors.
The week-long event features a series of inshore and offshore races that will take the sailors on a 270-mile voyage around the East Sea. The first 2 days of competition are friendly but fierce, with windward-leeward inshore races taking place around Uljin Gyeongsangbukdo. The first offshore leg will bring the teams on a challenging 86 nautical mile journey to the volcanic island of Ulung, which will be followed by an inshore race in this scenic island setting. Next, the fleet takes an overnight friendship parade to the historically important island of Dokdo. From there, the event concludes with the most exciting offshore leg, a 134 nautical mile dash back to Uljin to determine the overall champions.
Hi, I'm Sarah Anderson from America, sailing with the UF sailing team. I'm so excited and very, very grateful that South Korea lets us go sail to Ulungdo and Dokdo. Fighting!
We are coming from France. My name is Cécile. Your name is
Jean-Luc.
We hope to fight.
Go Canada!
Go Canada!
Yay Korea!
Fighting!
Go Gators and fighting!
Fighting!
I'm Tom Munson.
Brian Reynoso.
Peter Usher.
And we're from the University of Florida. We're excited to be here. We traveled a long way. So let the gator chomp. Ah!
Coming up, the teams are set, the sails are raised, and the action begins.
It's my first time ever sailing with a crew that spoke a different language, and I gotta say I found it really challenging. There was a lot more yelling than I was used to.
At the 2013 Korea Cup International Yacht Race, a new format is being used for the first leg, which is the inshore race that departs from Hupo Harbor and takes place along the coastline of Uljin. In the previous 5 years, sailors raced in their regular boats to kick off the competition. This year, the local and international teams will all sail in a one-design fleet race, so they are assigned to boats that are the same size and design, and each boat is limited to a 4-person crew. Today's race is considered a friendship event, but it's still very competitive. Ten boats attack a challenging course in 2 semi-final heats, and then the top 9 finishing times face off in the finals to determine the champion of the Uljin Cup Fleet Race. This format gives the crews a chance to develop teamwork before undertaking the demanding offshore race tomorrow to Ulung Island. Participants from South Korea compete against and alongside those from the United States, Canada, France, Great Britain, Hong Kong, New Zealand, Peru, Spain, and Russia. Ultimately, Korean crews capture all 3 spots on the podium with Team Jeonbuk on top, Busan Match in second, and Team Kojay in third. The Russian team of Elena finished close behind in 4th place. The sailors and race organizers are pleased with the new format in Uljin.
Since 2008, we've been so excited to having hosting the international race.
This is our first try in Korea Cup, but it was very successful, and everybody was so excited. They have a one design fleet on the course, so all the conditions of the boat is all same. Depends on their techniques.
as a first time coming to Korea, just I'm amazed at the level of joy and happiness that everyone has in their heart. It's a world-class event, and everyone here, I've yet to see someone with a frown on their face.
The Korea Cup is the largest event of the year for Korea's sailing, and no expenses spared for the opening ceremony, which features dinner and entertainment for all of the sailors and special guests. Traditional Korean dancing is showcased in the beautiful venue on the beach. Coming up, the first offshore race, a difficult voyage from the city of Uljin to the island of Ulung, Gyeongsangbuk-do. The crews will be tested by unpredictable conditions that await them in the East Sea, that range from extremely harsh to very mild.
Light conditions are some of the trickiest to sail in.
We have a large crew, so a lot of people could be not doing much out there.
Uljin, Gyeongsangbuk-do, South Korea is a perfect setting to launch an international yacht race.
한국에서도 울진이 특히게 자연이 굉장히 아름답거든요. 그 중에 하나가 이 바다입니다. 100km에 달하는 바다가 굉장히 아름답거든요. 그래서
Today, the first offshore leg will depart from the port of Hupo. The Korea Cup consists of two divisions of competitors, ORC and Open. ORC is the professional class, and all of the boats in it are registered internationally with the Offshore Racing Congress. The Open division is more of an amateur class and is open to all sailors. Many factors have a big impact on the speed of a boat, including the size of its sails, its length, and the weight and shape of its hull. So a handicapping system is used that is based upon how the various boats are predicted to perform. Therefore, a yacht may cross the finish line first and receive line honors, but after its finishing time is adjusted to include the handicap, it's common for it to move down several spots on the leaderboard. 25 yachts are competing in this year's Cup, 9 of them in the ORC class and 16 in the Open division. Some of the pre-race favorites in ORC include Linda Vista, the largest and most exciting yacht competing. It's one of the new models of Open 60, which features the latest in sailing technology and is manned by an all-Korean crew of 18 sailors. The second largest yacht competing is Team Bear Essentials, a 56-foot custom boat which sailed all the way from New Zealand to compete. It has a 9-person multinational crew comprised of sailors from South Korea, New Zealand, Great Britain, Japan, and the USA. Elena, winner of the 2012 Korea Cup, is a cruising boat with a 4-person crew from Russia. Also hailing from Russia is Carrera, a FAR 43 boat with 8 sailors. In the Open division, there is a great assortment of boats and teams, everything from all-out custom-designed machines to cruiser racers. With such a variety, anything is possible, and all teams have an equal chance of taking the overall title. Diva, which has an experienced crew of Canadians and Koreans, looks to make their mark on the podium.
This boat's an older design. It's built around 1994-95. It was really designed to race in the Long Island Sound area in lighter winds. It's always interesting when you throw together a new crew of guys that have to learn to communicate with each other and everything like that. I guess the wrench in the works here is that none of us speak Korean and they don't speak a lot of English.
Today, the crews will take a challenging 86 nautical mile route to the volcanic island of Ulung.
The conditions look to be quite light, so I think that'll be the challenge, is just trying to keep the boat moving in the light air and trying to get the race finished early, because tomorrow looks even lighter.
At 2 p.m., all boats gather at the start line, which is being overseen by the impressive race committee boat, the Koreana, a 42-meter, 4-masted schooner. The race begins, and as anticipated, the wind is very light along the coast of Uljin, which causes the fleet to stay bunched together. And with the combination of an eastern swell with southern breeze waves, the sailing is even more demanding. The fleets hoist their spinnakers, but they struggle to fill with wind and hold their shape. With the light conditions, race strategy will play a major part in the outcome. Linda Vista and Team Bear Essentials are similar in sail area and overall boat length, so a close battle is anticipated between them. Linda Vista takes an early lead and sets the pace. The crew of Linda Vista decides to take a more northerly course where they hope to locate a better breeze. However, the rest of the fleet, including Bear Essentials, does not follow suit and remains on a route to the south. As the fleet leaves the eastern coast of South Korea behind and journeys into the East Sea, the breeze builds and the boat speeds increase.
Being out in the middle of the East Sea here, we ran into a lot of local fishermen. It was just a totally different feel than sailing on Long Island Sound back in Connecticut.
It caused a couple problems for our navigation, which was difficult, but we got around it and avoided any disasters.
Diva experiences some equipment damage with a ripped spinnaker and must change their headsail fast in order to stay in the game and keep with the front of the pack.
Every offshore race has their challenges. Getting over the handicap of the language barrier I thought was going to be a bigger factor, and it really wasn't. Everybody speaks sailing, everyone was very motivated, everyone was very friendly.
With a strong breeze now propelling the yachts downwind, the teams hope for a faster leg time and an earlier arrival on the island of Ulung. Linda Vista had the lead midway, but Team Bear Essentials appears to be in charge by the time the sun sets. However, the outcome of a long offshore race is often determined under the cover of darkness. Teams lose sight of each other. It's more challenging to see shifts in the wind, and the crews are tired and deprived of sleep. In the early morning, the first boats arrive to a rainy day in Ulung. And it's the Korean team on Linda Vista who has emerged from the darkness first to reclaim the lead and take line honors. Team Bear Essentials follows close behind, but on corrected time, the French and Korean team of Asanito claim the victory, with the Russians on Carrera in second and Elena in third. In the open class, Diva finishes in 8th place.
Ulung Island was amazing to come in there after a long offshore race, and you're rattled, you're tired as you're motoring in, and appreciate the beauty of where you're at. It was spectacular.
The sailors are welcomed to Ulung by local dignitaries and a world-class group of race organizers who make the many different nationalities of visitors feel at home.
It's difficult when you have to organize a race that goes from one place to another, and then you go to another place, and then you start the race again. That logistical nightmare is very difficult to manage, and I'm very impressed.
Coming up, the sailors' skills are tested in the inshore race around Ulung.
We're going to start off early with a race around Dokdo Island, just off the coast here. It looks like it could be a very hairy turnaround in between the island and the mainland.
The island of Ulung is located 86 miles from the mainland of South Korea. The main economy is fishing, and the annual Squid Festival is very popular with locals and visitors. Because of its unique location and beautiful setting, Ulung has become a holiday destination for tourists.
눈으로 본 것만은 못하고 자신 있게 말씀드리며 이처럼 신비롭고 아름다운 섬 우리 울릉도와 독도로 꼭 한번 찾아와 주실 것을 바랍니다. 감사합니다.
A cable car offers sightseers a ride to the summit where they can enjoy sensational views of the green hills and rocky coastline.
must say the scenery here is absolutely beautiful. You can see the waterfront here behind me is absolutely magnificent. There's a lot of fishing boats here, there's a lot of activity and stuff like that.
The island is very interesting. I mean, obviously a little different than the mainland just because it's so removed. The culture is very interesting, the food is great.
The fact that the Oolong Island had so much development on it and all the tourists and all the seaports was great.
I thought it was amazing that, I found out about 15,000 people live in such a small island. Even the fact that they have cars and gas stations there.
Oh, it's gorgeous. I mean, it's got that small town sort of fishing port feel, and I had the opportunity to walk around a little bit last night and this morning. It's just a gorgeous place and totally unlike any place that I've ever been before.
Throughout the centuries, turbulent storms in the East Sea of South Korea have caused many boats to sink. So the sailors in the Korea Cup participate in a traditional ceremony to ask Mother Nature to keep their lives safe for the duration of their travels. The next leg of the Korea Cup is a short but challenging inshore race in which teams will sprint 2 kilometers from the port of Ulong to the nearby island of Jukdo. After circling Jukdo, they will race back to the finish line in Ulong. At 1 p.m., the race begins. The boats must navigate around markers near the shore before they can head towards their destination. As the yacht sets sail towards Jukdo, a brisk southerly breeze creates epic racing conditions, with big waves and gusts reaching up to 20 knots. The course is set downwind to Jukdo Island and upwind back to Ulong. The entire course is approximately 5 miles in length. Lindavista, the largest yacht in the competition, is noticeably absent as it remains in harbor for its crew to repair some damage in order to be ready for the next offshore leg. U2, an open division boat with a crew of Koreans and Americans, takes the early lead. Caution is thrown to the wind as the caravan of boats sets a record pace as it approaches the midway point. However, at Jukdo Island, the wind conditions are much more complicated. Jukdo is approximately a half-mile long and a quarter-mile wide. It's small in size, but stunning in appearance. The steep landscape of the volcanic island forces the wind around each side, which creates the effect of a hole void of air. The fleet gets packed together, and the race practically restarts. The Americans are trapped in the no-wind zone.
Trim a little.
No, down there, down.
It's a nightmare.
Down.
The teams try a variety of tactics, and the boats crisscross each other in the process. Eventually, everyone figures out a way to escape the grasp of the island, but the Americans have dropped to the middle of the field. Bear Essentials, in the ORC division and the second biggest boat in the competition, takes the lead as it heads back towards Ulong. Several boats follow in hot pursuit. In the open division, the Canadian and Korean team of Diva cruises towards the leaders. The upwind gust is good for everyone as the race is on to the finish. Bear Essentials reaches the finish line first to capture line honors. The Russian team of Elena, who won the overall event last year, is not far behind, looking to defend their title. After all of the handicapping is accounted for and the finish times are adjusted, Elena takes the victory in the ORC class, and Russians fill all 3 spots on the podium, with Carrera in second and Thalassa in third. Bear Essentials winds up in 5th place. In the open class, Russia finishes first and second, with Izuki and Decision. The Canadians and Koreans aboard Diva finish third.
Our competition is pretty stiff this year. These guys are good. You know, they're sharp at their game. They've been racing all winter down south of here, and they're coming through here to race in Korea, and they're going to keep on going. Racing is what they do. So it's important for them to come here and do their best, and it's great for the people who own boats and race them here to get that level of competition so that they can sharpen their game as well.
In the early evening, a party and award ceremony organized by the island of Ulung is held. Trophies and prize money are presented to the winners of the first offshore leg, as well as to today's top teams. But the celebration is brief, since the boats will soon depart on an overnight friendship parade to the island of Dokdo at the stroke of midnight. Coming up, Dokdo, an island rich in history, located in the East Sea of South Korea.
This island, over its history, has been predominantly Korean territory. It's in dispute right now. This event helps demonstrate Korean sovereignty. We were fortunate to be able to step onto this island and have a look at it and get a feel for it.
The island of Ulung is situated 86 miles from the mainland in the East Sea of South Korea. And the sunsets here are spectacular. At midnight, the fleet sets sail on a friendship parade to Dokdo Island, the easternmost territory of Korea, which is located approximately 50 miles to the southeast. The local community wishes the sailors a fond farewell as they continue on their journey. Sleep deprivation will play a major role because a long offshore race is scheduled to start immediately after their quick layover in Dokdo. The journey takes the entire night, and in the morning the sailors are greeted with a beautiful sunrise.
When we actually got to the island, the whole crew just came alive. I was really surprised how emotional they became. It was almost like going to church for them. It was like this magical place that they'd heard about or you know, maybe saw in a picture or postcard.
I'm Korean American myself, so it was just great to go back to my countryside and find my roots. It's just truly an honor even to be, you know, able to see it from far away. That's just an honor for any Korean right now.
Dokdo was formed 4.5 million years ago by volcanic activity, and today it holds special status as a nature reserve. Because of its warm and humid climate, numerous types of birds and plant species thrive here. Dokdo consists of 2 small islands, Dongdo and Sodo. Dongdo, the eastern part of Dokdo, has most of the maritime facilities, including a manned lighthouse. Korea telecom service providers have also installed stations on Dongdo. The path on Dongdo is used by South Korean police to patrol the island and to access observation barracks. The western island of Sodo consists of a single peak, and its major facility is Fisherman's Lodge.
There's a lot of fishing around this territory. The island we just came from, Ulleungdo, has a huge fishing fleet, and I can see a lot of the same boats have come here. That's a significant effort because they're not the biggest boats, and it's about 50 miles or so to come here, and then it's 50 miles home. They've got to stay here and fish. So these guys are pretty hardcore.
All tourists are allowed to travel to Dokdo anytime, any day if weather permits. Last year, the island hosted more than 132,000 visitors, and today's race brings 250 more guests ashore. Dokdo is located between Korea and Japan, and it has been a source of tension between the two countries. South Korea claims Dokdo as their territory from records that date way back to the 6th century, during the unified Shilla period. And in 1900, a Korean Empire ordinance officially incorporated the islands as part of Ulleung County.
About 100 years ago, Japan took South Korea over and claimed territory over this island, and when Korea took back their country, they wanted the island back for the property, for the fishing rights, for the rights to the water and things like that. And it's really been important to them to stand up and say, no, this really belongs to us. You know, you took it from us, but we took it back.
The Dokdo has been like 5,000 years of history of Korea that belongs to Gyeongsang, Dokdo, the province. It's part of our country.
After their brief visit on shore, the yachts leave the dock in preparation for the 11 a.m. start of the final leg of racing.
We were only there for about a couple hours, but still sailing around it was probably one of the most beautiful things I've seen.
Just to motor around the whole island and take pictures and look at it and appreciate the beauty of it, it was spectacular.
For the final leg of the Korea Cup, the fleet will circle Dokdo one more time before departing on a long 134-mile race back to the home base of Ujin. Coming up, the offshore action continues.
I think we have a real good shot to get out there and sail well. We're finally starting to get in our groove, and I think this might be our chance to really prove ourselves today.
Anytime you can put Canada and the United States in anything sporting, you should do it. And right now, Team Canada's up 2-0.
Dokdo Island is an important territory for South Koreans, as it's the outermost boundary of their country. The drums sound on board Koreana, the race committee boat, to signify the end of the quick visit to this beautiful place. At 11 a.m., all of the boats gather for the start of the final leg of the Korea Cup International Yacht Race, and the ORC and Open classes take off together. They will circle the island of Dokdo one time and then set their sights on the mainland city of Ujin, where the racing action began several days ago. This long offshore race will cover a distance of 134 miles and will take the rest of today, all night, and part of tomorrow to complete. The wind is light around Dokdo Island, and the crews take different approaches to the conditions. Linda Vista and Carrera take the early lead. The Russian team of Carrera chooses a course that is close to the islands, while Linda Vista decides to go wider to avoid a potential lack of wind near land. Team Bear Essentials follows Carrera, and they are trailed by the rest of the fleet. Carrera's tactics prove to be successful as they travel less distance to circle the island and are first to depart into the open seas. Even in the very early stages of the race, there is a great deal of separation between the front and the back of the pack. Linda Vista is the biggest boat in the competition. It's 60 feet long and guided by a crew of 18 Koreans. The yacht is built for speed, and it plows ahead in the open waters, advancing to the front of the pack and forging on towards its destination. With a long voyage ahead, the skills of all crews will be challenged, and for the next 8 hours, the boats sail upwind. The American sailors find themselves in the middle of the pack once again.
We haven't necessarily been doing as well as I would have hoped, but it's been a really cool experience to be here, and I love offshore sailing. Just the racing has been really cool for me. It's the same everywhere you go, and it's the same feeling, it's the same spirit of competition and things like that, and I think that that's the best part about it.
In sailing, like in all sports, to excel at the world-class level, it takes intense training, years of experience, inherent talent, money, good equipment, mental toughness, a burning desire to win, a great team, and a lot of luck.
There's nothing better than racing a sailboat. You're going along at 8 or 10 knots or something like that, and you're a tenth of a knot faster than the guy right beside you, and it looks like you're doing the exact same thing. Or worse, you could be on the receiving end of that, and you have everything in your mind set perfectly, just like he does, but he's leaving you. And you're going, what do I need to do? What do I need to do? And that's a learning process, and that goes to, I think, why I keep on coming back to it, is because it's always a challenge.
In the open class, Diva finished 8th in the offshore leg to Ulung Island and 3rd in the inshore race there. If they have a strong performance in this leg, the Canadians will be in contention to win the overall title in their division. Just before sunset, the winds pick up and the boat speeds increase. The yachts can finally let loose as they rush through the waves toward Ujin. In the ORC class, Linda Vista, who took line honors in the first offshore leg, has taken a comfortable lead on the return trip. But Team Bear Essentials, Carrera, and Elena have their sights set on victory as well. There is still a long way to go to the finish, and anything can happen under the cover of darkness. Coming up, the conclusion of the Korea Cup.
We saw everything from 0 knots to about 23 knots last night. Different breeze directions, different breeze conditions, so it was really challenging. Big waves last night. Whole different kind of sailing, especially with just the fact that we're offshore and everything can change in a second.
It's early morning in Hupo Harbor in the city of Uljin, South Korea. Linda Vista departed Dokdo Island 20 hours ago, sailed through the East Sea, and is the first yacht to cross the finish line, therefore taking line honors in the ORC class. Team Bear Essentials made up some time during the night and is the second boat to arrive. Throughout the morning, a light wind blows and several other ORC teams complete the final offshore leg of the week-long Korea Cup. Heavy winds propelled the boats throughout the night, and Diva captures line honors in the open class.
We had a delivery time of 30 hours. We were fortunate to be able to do it in 25 hours, and most boats did not complete that time limit.
At noon, the wind dies in Uljin, and the remaining boats are stalled off the coast. The finish line is in sight, but they are powerless to reach it.
It was really testing, realizing that we're in the same spot for 6 hours. We're not moving because there's a no wind zone, so that was really frustrating. But other than that, it was a beautiful day.
Team Bear Essentials takes first place in corrected time, with Carrera in second and Linda Vista settling for third. In the open class, Diva still captures the top spot, with Team Heimaru taking second. The rest of the teams are disqualified because they exceeded the time limit. The overall winner of the ORC class is the Russian team of Carrera. They were solid throughout the competition. The French team of Asanito ends up in second, with Team Bear Essentials placing third overall. In the open class, Team Heimaru takes top honors, with Diva as the runner-up. The hosts welcome the racers back to Uljin with a fantastic closing ceremony. Huge trophies and prize money are presented to the winning teams, and all participants sign the traditional Korean flag, which had been raised on Dokdo Island throughout the fortnight. A fitting end to a special event.
It's a world-class event, and I can't wait to come back next year. The crew on Diva were amazing. Everyone on our crew was spectacular. Really, really, really had a good time. It was an amazing, life-changing experience that, you know, something that I really hold true in my heart.
All in all, it was a great experience, great place to be. Probably have to come back and do some more sailing sometime.
Everyone who experienced this superb event on the International Sailing Federation's World Circuit will take home lasting memories, as they have seen the exotic locations, sailed the wide open seas, and experienced the friendly culture that was offered to them by South Korea. Sports World, International Sailing Federation Korea Cup, was presented by Gyeongsang Pokdo and brought to you by Korea Sailing Federation. Produced and distributed exclusively by Xiaobear Productions International. In association with ISEA Sports. All rights reserved.
and the streets of my way.